Hi, welcome to write the equation of a line based on a graph worksheet. Go ahead and put your name up on the top. I'm going to write key because this could be like an answer key. So what we want to do is we want to take the graph and we want to change it into an equation. So what I'm looking for is the slope and the y-intercept, because we have the equation y equals mx plus b. So I need to fill this blank spot for the slope. I need to fill this blank spot for the y-intercept. And once I know those two numbers, then I can write the equation. So I look on the y-axis and I'm like, where does it cross the y-axis? And you might think, oh, it doesn't cross the y-axis, but it really does. It crosses right here, and that spot is when y is 0. So I don't need, or I can put a b as 0. Y equals, and then I have an x, and then I got to fill that spot with the slope. So by finding the slope, I'm just going to think about what slope is. Slope is rise over run. And I'm going to count boxes and write down what the slope is. It's as simple as that. So here we go. So starting here, I'm going to go up 3 over 1. I can put a little Bruno Mars in it. Up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Oh, so the slope must be 3 over 1. Now this is a little bit overkill here. I don't really need the 1 there, and the plus 0 isn't doing anything. So I'm going to change this to y equals 3x. And that would be the answer, a good simplified answer. This is a function. So you could write f of x is equal to 3x. And why is it a function? Well, it's a line, which makes it a function. All lines are functions except for vertical lines. And when you put a number in here, you're tripling the function. So that's going to bring me up to the next point, is we want to be able to describe functions all these different ways. So functions. We want to think about our functions verbally. So written or talking about them. So 3x is a tripling function. It triples every number you give it. So if you give it 8, if you give you back 24. If you give it 5, you'll get back 15. So it triples everything. The next way we want to describe our functions is algebraically. Algebraically. Whew. So basically in algebra terms, which is the equation. We also want to describe our function numerically. Numerically. So that would be with numbers. So those would represent like the points on the graph. So there's the point 0, 0. So that would be a numerical explanation. There's infinitely many points in here in this spot right there. There's infinitely many points. But the next one that's easy to find is 1, 3. And then there's infinitely more points in there, and then that's an easy one to find, 2, 6. And there's infinitely many points in here, and then the next one would be 3, 9. And then you could go down here and describe them the other direction as well. So the points are on this line. They're the solutions to this tripling equation. And the last way we want to describe a function is graphically. So graphically would be with the graph that I already have. So we want to have multiple representations of the function. It's 3 times a number, it's 3x, it produces numbers like 1, 3, 2, 6, 10, 30, etc. And then the graph looks like so, the solution. All right. Functions have domain and range. The number that goes in would be 1, the number that comes back is 3. The number that goes in is 2, it gets tripled, it comes back as 6. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do the whole first page together, and then the back page you can do on your own. So the next one here, it also goes through 0, 0. So 0 again, and we just need to do the slope. So the slope is, careful, count carefully. It's definitely a negative slope because it's going down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going down 4, so negative 4. And then we're going over how many? Count carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 4/5. So y equals negative 4/5 x. And I don't need a plus 0. All right. So that equation shows this picture right there. All right. this is the only kind of function, or only kind of line that's not a function, and that's a vertical line. Vertical lines are not functions because all the points are stacked on top of each other. And remember from our discussion the other day, for each x, you have to have one y. For each x, you have to have one y. So, for an x, you have to have an y. And if I say x is 2, you don't know which y value I'm talking about. In fact, that's how you do this equation, is x is 2 for all of these. So we just write x equals 2. So it's a vertical line. Oops, don't need that. And it's not a function. All right, so vertical lines are not a function. So I'll put function, put 0 and a slash through it. Not a function at all. So if x equals makes a vertical line, y equals is going to make a horizontal line. So I just need to figure out what y value am I stuck at. Well, 1, 2, 3 spots down. So I'm down 3 spots. So y is always down 3 spots. So y equals -3. And that should totally make sense, because if I go to this point here, that'd be 0, -3. If I go over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that'd be 5, -3. If I go here, it's 10, -3. So y, the y value is always stuck at -3. If I go right there, that would be -8, -3. So I'm always stuck with a y value of -3. Now this is a function, and its slope is what? What would be the slope of this flat line? Well, it's flat, so the slope is 0. M for slope is always kind of a weird thing. I've heard different things about it. Supposedly, it's like came from a French word that was like mountains, so they used M for slope. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that sounds good enough. So M for mountain, slope. Over here, the slope, it doesn't exist. If you think about driving a car, you can't drive straight up a wall. But you can drive on flat. So the slope here, we say that it's undefined. Okay, so the slope is undefined. So undefined slope for vertical lines, and they're not functions. No on the function. Okay, so we got to find the m and the b. Since we're cooking here, let's go ahead and look at the other one. And so basically what you want to do is you just got to find the m and the b and then write the equation. So let me help you with this one, then you can do the others and then turn it in. So we look on the y-axis and then we count, boom, boom. So we'd say that b is right there. So how far down is that, my people? Boom, boom, down 2. So I write what? -2. Okay, so there's my b. Now I got to look at the slope. The slope is going up, so it's a positive slope. So I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So the slope is 1/2. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So I write y equals slope x and then blank back here. So I got to fill in the 2 blanks, right? Slope goes first, and then the number goes back here. Because remember, you're following the equation y equals mx plus b. So the slope is 1/2 and -2. So y equals 1/2 x minus 2, or you write f of x is equal to 1/2 x minus 2. So that's your function notation version instead of y equals. All right, so go ahead and finish those off and then turn it in.